My God. Have you all heard of the new TikTok series called the Danish Deception? Why y'all didn't tell me about this, I don't know. But today we going to talk about it. Shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. There is a 30-part series on TikTok by a young lady by the name of Onika. Shall by. Her story is so complicated and yet so easy to understand what was going on. The Danish Deception, y'all, is a multi-part TikTok saga by a former reality TV contestant by the name of Onika Airy. In it, she tells this story of a whirlwind romance with a man she met while vacationing abroad with her girlfriend. A man child who claimed to be a Danish royalty, an Olympian, wealthy, and living a glamorous jet set life. According to her in these videos, y'all, she met this man in Croatia in 2022. She saw this hunk of burning love. They exchanged social media handles on Instagram and began a romantic contact soon after. He allegedly pursued her heavily online, and then he whisked her off on luxury trips to Monaco, among other places, treating her to fancy hotels, expensive dinners, and lavish vacations. He professed he loved her, reinforcing the rom-com meets fairy tale vibe. Child, but then things escalated. He moved to the U.S. to be with her, met her family and her friends. They got married within a few months. And child, on the surface, everything looked like Instagram worthy fairy tales. But as this relationship deepened, y'all, all kinds of freaking red flags showed up. Financial red flags emerged. She ended up loaning him money, and it became increasingly large sums to help with emergencies, such as a claimed property with some issues, all the way to frozen assets. Over time, y'all, her loans snowballed into huge debts. Counts vary, but one summary says the amount reached the sum of $130,000. We're going to react to her video. In order for me to look at all of it, it would take, I believe, 5 hours. So we're going to skim over some of these videos and we're going to react to them. And I'm telling y'all, buckle up for this crazy ride. I'm sure you are asking yourself, just as I have asked myself going over this series, why in the whole hell did she stay in this relationship? Did she not see the red flags, the purple flags, the checkered flags, everything? Why didn't she see it? Was it because she felt like she had found? I don't know. Let's get into it. We're going to unpack this as much as we can. Y'all get ready. Buckle up for this ride. The Danish Deception. Again, this is a reaction video covered under fair use for entertainment, education, and everything else that falls under fair use. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall.
The Danish Deception, Part 1. Okay, so it all started in June of 2022. I was in a place in my life where I was working 2 jobs. I was working like a dog, and I knew I needed a break. So I reached out to my friend, Sarah, who was living in Germany at the time with her husband. And I said, let's take a trip. Let's go somewhere in Europe. And she was so down. And we were trying to decide where we wanted to go. And we decided to go to Hvar, Croatia, because we wanted somewhere that was like a cute local town that was by the water, but it wouldn't be as crazy busy as other places in Europe. And so we decided to go to Hvar. We flew to Split first, met there, took a ferry over. And at first I was just so amazed at how beautiful this place was. And so the first night I was a little bit jet lagged. So we kept it very chill, grabbed dinner, then went back to our Airbnb. And the next morning when we woke up, we had literally 2 things on our agenda, and that was to eat and drink and be by the water. And well, I guess that's 3 things, but yeah, eat, drink, and be by the water. So we went to Hula Hula, which if you've been to Hvar, you've been to Hula Hula. It's this beach club that's very well known there. And
one of the first things that I noticed on this video is that she got the audacity to be smiling.
Right on the water. And
I would be balled up in a knot, hair rollers in my hair, slob on the side of my mouth, fingernails bit down to the flesh, eyes swollen, makeup smudged and running, no eyebrows at all. They would look like they had gotten burnt and singed off of my face. There is no way that I would be sitting out here as calm, casual, and as cute as girlfriend is. But anyway.
We're laying in day beds, kind of off to the side, minding our own business, sipping mojitos. And I look up and I see this very attractive man. And the first thing that came to my mind was, this man looks like he is walking straight out of a Calvin Klein ad. And I'm telling you guys, 6'3", blonde hair, blue eyes, chiseled skin, so tan, muscles everywhere. I was definitely taken aback. And I feel like it takes a lot for me to really double take a man just based on his looks like that. And 100%, I was a little bit just in awe. I didn't even realize that he was like with a friend at first. And so I'm still minding my own business, keeping it chill. And he looks over at me and he says, how are the drinks? And I said, the drinks are wonderful. We're just sipping mojitos. He said, should I get us all around? And I said, absolutely. Number 1, he's cute. Number 2, who wouldn't want a free mojito? So I said yes. We got a round of drinks and we're sipping our drinks and we just start small talking. And I asked them where they're from. And they say that they're both from Denmark. My ex was living in Copenhagen, and then his friend was living in a smaller town called Aalborg, which is north of Copenhagen. And that was actually my ex's hometown, that his friend was still living there. And so we were just small talking the whole time. We didn't really talk about a whole lot of things. It was just like, where are you from? And just basic things. But they were asking us, what's your plan for the rest of the trip? And we told them, we're doing a full day boat excursion tomorrow. And then we're going to dinner tonight at this place called Dalmatino. And he said, oh, how's the dinner spot? And I was like, I don't know, but I got recommended by a friend to go there. And he was like, okay, well, maybe we'll meet up with you guys again later. And I said, sure. So we're getting a little bit tired. So we decided that it's time for us to leave. And so as we're leaving, I decide to make a bold move and just ask him for his Instagram. And obviously I'm trying to be a little sly. So I asked him and his friend for their Instagrams.
Anytime you have to ask a man for his Instagram and he doesn't ask you, red flag number 1. In my opinion, this is what shows a man who you are and what you think about yourself as a woman. Men should pursue, they should hunt, not a woman. So this automatically let him know, in my opinion, that you ain't worth the value of being pursued, because he didn't have to pursue you. Men hunt, not women.
And we exchange Instagrams. We get into our taxi.
Not even phone number, Instagrams.
To go back to our Airbnb. And we're literally en route to our Airbnb. And I get a DM from him. And he basically said, "It was so nice meeting you. Have fun at Dalmatino. Maybe we'll see you guys later." Didn't read anything into it. I just was like, it was fun to just have a conversation with a cute guy.
That is not true. He knew exactly what you were up to. Absolutely, Bridget. She was an easy mark.
And so we go back to our Airbnb, we get dressed, we get ready for dinner, and we're like on our way to dinner. And he is like messaging me about the restaurant and asking us details about it. I didn't like think anything of it. But we sit down, we're having dinner, we have a spectacular dinner, and we're finishing off the evening with our desserts, aka espresso martinis. And I'm sipping my drink and I look up and I see him and his friend at the restaurant. And they walk up over to us and I'm like, "Oh, hey." He's like, "Yeah, like they're a little booked up, but they said they can like seat us in like 20 minutes. I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, we're about to be done, but we'll go grab a drink. Maybe we can like meet up later." And he said, "Okay, sounds good." So it was kind of awkward timing because we were finishing up dinner while they like hadn't even been sat yet. And so we went to a bar across the street and we were grabbing drinks, and I hit a wall and I was like, "Okay, now I need to go to sleep." And I was super jet lagged. And so I sent him a DM just basically saying, "Hey, we are so tired. We have a full boat excursion tomorrow. I don't think we're going to stay out much later." And he was like, "That's totally fine." And so the next day we wake up, we get on the boat, and I start obviously posting like all my cute photos. Like, remember I took a photo driving the boat, and like we were just, having fun. And I was like looking at my Instagram story and I see he's like hearting every single story, and like he's responded to a couple of them. I am not the type of person that reads very much into activity on social media like that, but it was something that I noticed. And so, we continued on with that for like a day and a half. And then he reaches out to me and he says, "Hey, like, what are you guys doing?" And at this time, it is our last night in Havar. And he said, "What are you guys doing tonight?" And I said, "We don't really have plans because we didn't." And he said, "Well, do you guys want to come to dinner with us?" And me and my friend were like, "Absolutely, sure." And she wasn't really down to go. I kind of forced her because I was like, "This guy's hot and it's a free dinner. Like, let's just go. It'll be fun." And so she's a good friend. So she came with me and we get to the restaurant, and him and his friend are sitting across from each other. So obviously I took the seat next to him. I was sitting across from my friend, and we're sitting there.
She was pursuing this man from day one. From day one, she was pursuing this man. Now, there is a theory that a lot of people have on TikTok called the hair behind the ear theory. Have y'all heard of the hair behind the ear theory? The hair behind the ear theory is supposed to be, and this was the first time I've ever heard of it, is a black woman who likes white men have their hair or play with their hair behind their ears. Y'all, I ain't never heard nothing like it in my life. Like, I ain't never heard of this. But there are pictures and people that they have shown who are on TikToks, whether they celebrities or not, that have the hair behind the ear. Now, yesterday I had some difficulties with YouTube. I don't know if it was YouTube or StreamYard where I went blurry. If I go blurry, I'm going to stay blurry. We're going to keep going. Okay? But I'm going to stop this real quick to bring up the hair behind the ear theory. So I'm going to stop this. And now we're going to go to the hair behind the ear theory. Okay, I'm going to bring it up real quick. Just 1 second, y'all. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Let me bring this up because I have never heard of this before. Okay. We're going to start with the first one. Let me share it on the screen. This is the first example that they use about the hair behind the ear theory for Black women. You will notice in Onika's videos, she constantly does this. Let's go to the next one. Let me find the other ones. Hold on. Let me stop sharing. Let me find the other ones in the hair behind the ear theory. We're going to examine that. I don't know how true that is, but let's listen, shall we?
I think that every few months, maybe once a year, someone somewhere spins a wheel and decides what we're going to make fun of Black women for doing this season. This month, it's tucking your braids behind your ears like so. And if you commit this cardinal sin, you are labeled as someone who dates white men or is whitewashed or wants to be a white girl, whatever, etc., etc. And first of all, where do you want the braids to go? There was this tweet from a couple months ago that's like, Ayodele is very pretty, but she looks like that because she needs Black friends. And
Now, let's find the next one.
I wanted to come on here and talk to y'all about something that I was just told that I just heard about the hair being behind the ear. Now, if you go through my other videos, I always got my hair behind my ear. It for me, I think it's a um, being comfortable, maybe nervous, mostly comfortable type situation. But I just heard that when you have your hair behind your ear, it's supposed to mean that you like white boys or you only date white boys. For one, never dated a white guy. Nothing against it. Just never have dated a white man. And I don't understand what race got to do with it. But I do it because I'm comfortable. But let me take my hair from behind my ear and see what big difference it makes. Okay, it's cute, but I need y'all to explain more. Hit me in the comments. Something. Okay, y'all?
Okay, that's another one.
Fucking, motherfucker, like.
Okay, no.
All right, let's just have a talk. Let's have a quick chat because all these girls are getting so butthurt because we are pointing out something specific that a certain demographic of Black women who are usually have a lot of self-hate and are whitewashed and will only date white men, not because they're open to dating whoever, but they want a specific lifestyle and they feel like only a white man can do it, which is tucking your hair behind your ear. And it's specifically with braids and sew-ins. And the reason why that it's like an indicator is because you can put your hair behind your ears. It's not a problem. But for some reason, when you do it with braids and sew-ins that are obviously too thick, or like you can tell it's a weave, it's a wig, you could tell, but they want so badly to prove like, no, this is my hair. They tuck it behind their ear like this. They go like this. And then their ear is sticking the frick out.
Y'all, this is really a theory on TikTok. Y'all, let me know. They'll tell in the comment section. I thought it would be something that you all needed to see.
I'm a signal that you're into the swirl. Someone accused me of that. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? When did
Boy, do she got some gum.
Not to be controversial or nothing, but y'all want to know how I know a black girl only dates white guys? It's when they have braids and they tuck it behind the ear. They keep that braid tucked behind the ear, just like this. Every single time. Tuck. Not to be controversial.
Have you all heard it?
For my community, the babes who like to tuck their braid behind their ears. Every day we're being villainized on this stupid app. Oh, I bet she dates white men. Oh, I bet she does this. Oh, I bet she does that. First of all, there's not a single white man on this planet that can claim me. And guess what? My braids be tucked behind my ear because sometimes I don't want it in my face. Sometimes.
Rabbit hole on TikTok of like the hair theory of the hair in front of you versus behind your ears, because I am a behind your ears girly just for the sheer use of it. Like, it's very convenient. My hair is not in my face then, all the things. But I want to know, are you a behind the ears or not? And have you looked up this theory? Because I did, and now I'm down the rabbit hole, and I want to know.
Yo, come on, man. I can't have shit in this house.
One common gesture is tucking hair behind the ears.
So I'm playing it like this because
I've
TikTok.
ever heard. So because my hair is long and I want to tuck it behind my ears, it means I'm a white girl. But I feel like if I was to have like a weave or a bust down or like a curly hair texture and I took it behind my ear, that would be normal. But you said it yourself in the comments that you're disturbed that I have locks, freeform locks at that, and I'm tucking it behind my ears. I didn't know having ears was for white girls.
Y'all let me know if this is something that you all have heard of. Okay. Have you noticed this? This is the new theory that is out there on TikTok. I don't know if it has anything to do with this young lady talking about this and constantly tucking her hair behind her ears, or this is something that was out there before. But y'all, this is a thing downtown on the TikTok. Now, let's continue with the story at hand. But I thought it would be interesting to get you all's opinion on it. So if you do it, let me know downtown in the comment section. But we're going to go back to the Danish Deception videos, back to the series. Okay, y'all let me know. I thought that was very interesting. So we're going to go to video 2 of the Danish Deception. Shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. But I'm going to fast forward through what we have not already seen from 1, because we need to set the precedence and let you all understand what is going on with this. So I'm going to bring it up and then I'm going to slide it to, I believe, where we left off at. Okay. This is a live. Go get your drinks. Go get whatever it is that you need, because we're going to be here for a minute as we react to this video as a family. Welcome to Auntie's Advice. If you have not already done so, hit that subscribe button and turn your notification bells on so that every time we go live, you are live with us.
Danish Deception Part 1. You know, having fun. And I was like looking at my Instagram story and I see he's like hearting every single story and like he's responded to a couple of them. I am not the type of person that reads very much into activity on social media like that.
But she did.
But it was something that I noticed. And so, you know, we continued on with that for like a day and a half. And then he reaches out to me and he says, hey, like, what are you guys doing? And at this time, it is our last night in Havar. And he said, what are you guys doing tonight? And I said, we don't really have plans because we didn't. And he said, well, do you guys want to come to dinner with us? And me and my friend were like, absolutely, sure. And she wasn't really down to go. I kind of forced her because I was like, this guy's hot and it's a free dinner. Like, let's just go. It'll be fun. And so she's a good friend. So she came with me and we get to the restaurant and him and his friend are sitting across from each other. So obviously I took the seat next to him. I was sitting across from my friend and we're sitting there, we're having a wonderful dinner and drinking tons of wine. And I come up with this idea to play this game where I'm asking his best friend to describe what my ex's type was. And because we were obviously like vibing with each other and I was just curious. And so his best friend starts listing off everything like good morals, hard worker, all these things. And like, I felt like he was describing me. And after his friend was done talking, my best friend basically said, you know, aside from being a good cook, she checks off every single box. And I remember I looked at him, my ex, and I said, but I will become a great cook for a good man. And he starts laughing. I remember I put my hand on his leg. And that was the first time in my life that I felt that instant electricity from someone's touch. Like it literally felt like I was getting shocked. And we instantly like had this physical attraction towards each other. And we started talking about what we did for work. And I told him that I was working as a real estate agent and in tech. And then he told me, I'm actually chief commercial officer for an ad tech company that does marketing for real estate companies. So I was working in real estate and tech and he was working in real estate and tech and everything just like felt like it was aligning. But again, I'm like, this guy lives in Copenhagen. There's nothing that's going to come from this. So after dinner, we go and grab some drinks at a bar nearby and we grabbed one drink and they're definitely gearing up to go back out. And it was our last night and my friend really did not want to go out. And I am not the type of a girl to ever leave my friend for a man, never in a million years. So I ended up just saying, hey, I think we're going to call it a night and we're going to head out. And he was respectful of that 100%. And I remember we just hugged goodbye and we left and that was it. And so we're going back to our Airbnb. We're walking home and I get a DM from him. And he said, it was so nice meeting you. I hope it's not the last time. Also, South Africa is happening. I can see it. And the reason why he said that was because I was telling him that I had wanted to go to South Africa for that following Christmas. And because my family was going to be traveling. And he said, I've always dreamt of going to South Africa. And I jokingly was like, well, you're invited if you want to come. And so whenever he made that comment to me in the DM, I was like, okay, sure. I am not thinking anything of it, right? At this point, whatever, like this guy lives 5,000 miles away from me. I'm not thinking anything of it. So the next day, my friend goes back to Germany and I go to Barcelona to meet up with some friends. And again, I'm like posting throughout my trip. And every time I look at my phone, it's like he's DMing me, messaging me, and he's continuing all of this. And I'm just a little bit shocked, but also like very interested still at the same time. And
why is she shocked? Wasn't her intention to get exactly what she's getting? Attention from him? Him to click and like on her stuff? To see it? Why is she shocked? I don't get it. She shared her Instagram. She posted videos. She noticed that he was liking him. Why else would you share your Instagram handle on vacation to a total stranger who you find attracted to? And now you shocked that he looking at it. Girl, stop. See, it's the delusion from the beginning. In my opinion, a lot of stuff that she did in this, not that she has not been victimized, right? In my opinion, in some ways, but in some ways, she set herself up for this. She made herself prey. But I'm going to let you make a decision on your own.
He was remembering things that I told him at dinner. Like I had told him that I was going to buy a Chanel bag.
It turned her on.
Because I wanted to reward myself for working hard. And he had messaged me and been like, hey, did you get your Chanel bag? And I was literally like drunk off sangrias in my bikini and cover up in the Chanel store when I got that DM. And I sent him a selfie and he said, this is the best photo I've ever seen. And I just like felt like I could just be myself with him already. And, you know, we were just getting along and having good conversation. So
now, mind you, I want you all to know that this young lady was on The Bachelor and Love in Paradise, looking for love.
Again, he doesn't even have my phone number at this point. We were literally just flirting through DMs. So I end up leaving Barcelona the next day and I land and he sends me a message and he said, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to go to Ibiza? And I saw the message and I was like, what? And we will continue in part 2. The Danish Deception. I cannot believe I'm making this video. The Danish Deception.
Wait a minute, y'all. Let me see if I can get to part 2. I thought I had all this stuff put down. Hold on. Let me get to part 2. Come on. Okay, wait a minute. Let me find out what's going on. Hold on, y'all. Why can't I get to part 2? Okay, I thought I had this scroll. Y'all got to understand the mode, okay? Don't be fussing at me. I'm coming.
So he sent me this message saying, you should come to Ibiza this weekend. I'm going with a bunch of friends. And he's like, I'll send you the flight. Everything will be paid for. And I thought about it for a second because, come on, who wouldn't want to go to Ibiza? And
now, have y'all noticed that she's always, when he's offering something, she is always saying, why not? Why wouldn't I? Who doesn't want a free trip? Why not? Who doesn't want this? So while she thought that she was gagging him, the gag was on her. That's the problem with trying to use people, in my opinion. Most of the time, when you lead with that kind of crap, the person sees it and they will flip it on you. That is what makes you prey. He asked them whether or not they wanted to drink. What was her answer? Sure, who doesn't want a free drink? Now he's asking her, do you want to go on vacation? Sure, who wouldn't want to go? Because your whole mindset to him, from his perspective, is that you're looking for him to give you money and free things. And he flipped it on her. Let's continue.
then I thought a couple of reasons why I didn't want to go was mainly because I just bought a Chanel bag. So I was like, I want to work and make more money.
Didn't have money because she brought the Chanel bag.
And also I felt like this is the type of guy that things come easy for him. And this is not something that's going to be easy for you to obtain. And I didn't want our first weekend to be like just partying together with all of his friends. Like that's
how you met him. What a contradiction. She is contradicting everything. You didn't have money, or money that you felt like you wanted to spend on the trip. Push you in a bad position as a female, in my opinion. You need to always have your own cheese and your own cheddar and do your own things. Once you get into an established relationship with someone where you have already vetted the in person, then you understand that fair exchange ain't no robbery. But in the beginning, he's probably figuring fair exchange, let me see how much she will rob me. And then he flipped it. Let's continue. Those are my opinions. Let me know yours downtown in the chat, which is why we're live. So you can talk back and forth to everybody. Give your opinion downtown in the chat, y'all. And get those thumbs up for Ray Della.
What I wanted. So I ended up telling him no, but I just ended up saying that I needed to work. And I thought he was never going to talk to me again. But somehow this like lit a fire under him, and he became even more persistent, and he started pursuing me even more. And he was sending me messages like, when are you going to come visit me in Copenhagen? Or I would love to come to Dallas to come see you. And I was just like, who is this man and what's happening? Still not really taking him serious. And then maybe like a couple weeks later, he sends me another message. And at this point, we're still talking pretty consistently on Instagram. We still do not have each other's numbers. And he sends me a message. He says, hey, I have a work conference coming up in Monaco, and I would love for you to come. And I read that message, and I was like near the south of France, like that Monaco? And he was like, yeah, like I can get you your flight and everything will be taken care of. And I was like, okay, well, give me some time to think about it, because I didn't want to say yes on the spot, but I was like, okay, this is something I definitely want to consider.
Looking for a bag, looking for something free. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you want to be with him.
So I thought about it for a while. I talked to my friends.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something if you want to be with him.
I talked to my sisters about it. At first, I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like, this is crazy. And then,
but look at how she's smiling.
Over time, I started like talking myself into it. And then one morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go to Monaco. So I sent him a message and I said, hey, I've decided I'm going to come to Monaco. And he sends me a message. He said, this is the best day ever. I'm so happy. Send me your passport and everything. I'll book the flight. So I sent him a picture of my passport. And I also was like, oh, and by the way, here's my phone number. He was like,
now you give somebody your passport information before they even got your phone number. Before they even got your phone number, you don't even know the man's last name. You don't know nothing about him, his social security, date of birth, nothing. And he offers you a trip that you feel like you getting ready to get over for. You got this perfect man, and now here you gonna get his a copy of your passport. He could have did anything with it, dummy. And she said, oh, and by the way, here's my phone number. Because she thought she was getting something out of him. This was a setup. This was a setup.
I've been waiting for you to give this to me for now, like weeks. And I said, okay, here you go.
So he gets a phone number because he paying for a trip.
Thank you for like inviting me on this trip. So I give him my phone number and he sends me a message and he said, it took you long enough. And I said, oh yeah, well, sorry. I'm just a little bit more reserved when it comes to like dating and men. Like, I just like to make
sure. Girl, you ain't been reserved. You've been talking to this month every day. You've been pressed for him to call. You're telling your sisters, your girlfriends about him. Sit down.
Sure. Like I'm a very intentional person.
She did nothing intentional yet, but try to use the man for some money.
And
a trip.
Was just so respectful to me. I remember when he was booking the flights and everything, he was like, don't worry, like I'll get you your own hotel room. Like he was just being so respectful. And so I remember our very first phone call so perfectly because it came completely out of the blue. It was like on like a Tuesday and I'm sitting at my work desk and he sends me a message. He's like, can I call you? And I was like, oh, he wants to call me. And I'm like, I'm literally discombobulated, freaking out. Like, what am I going to do when this man actually calls me? But I was like, you need to get together. So he calls me, I answer the phone, and he's actually in a cab to the airport. He's about to go on a work trip. And we were just small talking about our day. And I felt like those like butterflies that I felt whenever we had been together at dinner in Croatia. And
but if it was a poor, broke man, he wouldn't have never got nothing from her. If it was a poor, broke man, or a man that, you know, is got enough to take care of him coming up the corporate ladder, whatever, they wouldn't have had a chance with her. Ain't nothing wrong with having your preference wanting a wealthy man or a man that's able to wine and dine you and fly you all over the world. But what kind of cost you gonna pay for it? We'll find out, shall we? Oh yes, we shall.
And I remember getting off the phone with him and I was just sitting there like cheesing, like, which I don't ever do. And I was just,
I wonder if he got turned off by her eyebrows.
This guy is special. And he sent me a message and he was like, you are so cute. Like, I love talking to you. And I said, I love talking to you too. And so basically from that moment on, we just started talking on the phone all the time, like for 1 hour, 2 hours a day.
After he gonna fly her out. After he got her passport. Now she's talking every day. See, she had her motives too.
We started talking about a lot of things, about a lot of different aspects of our lives. He was telling me that, you know, he was living in Copenhagen. He was living in this condo. Obviously, he knew that I lived in Dallas. And then we started talking about past relationships. And I told him, I was very honest. I said, I actually haven't had like a truly serious relationship before. I have always been a very independent person, but I do want to meet someone. I do want to like get married and have kids, but I don't feel like that.
You don't have to zoom in on her eyebrows. I'll zoom in. Hold on. I'll give you the low on the eyebrows. Can you see the eyebrows? Let me see if I can get her in here by herself. There she go. Here go the eyebrows.
Pressure to like force it. Like, I have such a great example with my parents, and I really want to have like an amazing love in this lifetime. And so I'm going to take my time to find that. And I asked him, like, what's your history with your dating? And he was like, yeah, well, I actually was in a relationship with a girl. We were together for about 4 years. And I actually broke up with her about 4 months before I met you. And I said, oh my gosh, like, the 4 years is a long time. He said, yeah, like it needed to happen for a while. And really what happened was that she told him that she was ready to have kids and he wasn't ready to have kids. And I guess that forced him to realize that she wasn't the one, and they were living together. So it was like a really hard situation to get out of, but he finally was able to do so. And so I was happy to hear that had been about 4 months since they broke up, because if he had said like they had just broken up, I would have been a little bit more hesitant to pursue things, because I know like you go through a breakup, you need time to heal. But I felt like, okay, 4 months should be enough time. And then we started talking about like our families a little bit too. I told him I'm super close with my family. He said, I'm really close with my mom and my little sister. I do have an older sister that I don't talk to. And basically something happened and she was like being like physically abusive, verbally, physically abusive towards his mom. And he decided to cut her out of his life because she's crazy. And I said, listen, I get that. That makes sense. Like, you should not have her in your life. And I think just like over the course of a month, we're talking on the phone for just hours. And I tell people all the time that it felt like we fell in love over the phone, because from the time that I had decided to go to Monaco to the time that I actually left for Monaco, it was a month. And we had this plan that we weren't going to FaceTime at all, because we wanted the next time we saw each other to be in person, which I thought at the time was super romantic. And so, you know, we started talking about like hypotheticals. I remember he told me one day, he said, you know, if we ever end up getting married, you're going to meet the queen. And I remember just like laughing at that comment. And he said, no, I'm being serious.
Now, please listen to this bullshit he gave her, because at this point, he has already figured out what kind of woman she is. He's already figured that out. Now, he done told her, if we get married, you're going to meet the queen. Listen to this bullshit that he just told her. Let me put her in here by herself, so I ain't got nothing to do with this.
And I said, what do you mean I'll meet the queen? And he said, well, you know, my family has a royal title. And I was like, wait, what? And he sent me this link to this site. It's called the Order of the Elephants. And he said, you could do some research and then we can talk about it. And I said, okay. So I start going through the page that he sent me, and I see someone that had the same last name as him, like some old guy from like the 1700s. And I remember taking a screenshot, and I said, is this your great great grandpa? And he goes, now you're getting on track. My next question to you is, how's your etiquette? And I was like, I mean, I think it's okay. And so I'm sitting here like, who is this man? He's attractive. He has a great job. He has a royal title. Like, is there anything wrong with him at this point? And
yes, that's a no-brainer. Yes.
I have always believed in the term, it's too good to be true. But I mean, and I was feeling that 100%. Like I felt like, when's the other shoe going to drop? But it didn't drop that first month. It was just like, we truly fell in love over the phone.
You fell in love over the phone. He fell into the same bag that he probably been doing for years.
And so we are getting closer and closer to the trip to Monaco, and I start packing. And I feel like that's like when the nerves start hitting me, was when I'm packing, like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. And I remember my sister was like, you need to put air tags in like all your bags. And I'm like, I don't need to put air tags in anything. Like, I trust this man. Like, I know like it's going to be okay. Like, every part of me felt like so safe with him already, which was crazy because I hadn't really spent much time with him. Maybe this is trauma from being on The Bachelor. I'm not sure. But I felt very safe with him. And so the day comes where I'm supposed to go on the trip. And so I order my Uber, get to the airport, and I felt like it was kind of like a good sign, because I posted that I was at DFW, and one of my really good girlfriends texted me that lives in a different state. She was like, hey, I'm actually in DFW too. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she comes, meets me at my terminal. She's like, where are you going? I go, I'm actually going to Monaco to meet this guy that I met in Croatia. And she was like, this is insane. And so I just felt like seeing that friend was like a good sign. I don't know why. And I ended up just boarding the flight. I remember boarding that first flight. I had a layover in Madrid, but boarding that first flight, I was sitting there and I was like, this shit is really happening. And all the nerves are just taking over, but I'm like, take a chill pill. It's going to be okay. You're going to get there. It's going to be fine. And at that point, I was like, okay, the worst thing that happens is like, he's a crazy person and I have enough money where I can like just book my own hotel and I'll just have a good time by myself. Like, it'll be
How'd that work out?
fine. So I like had that backup plan. But yeah, I had my layover in Madrid, and then my next flight was to Nice. And so I board my flight to Nice. It was like a really quick flight. And I get to Nice, I land, I get my bags and baggage claim. I sent him a text. I said, I'm here. And I'm rolling both of my bags, about to walk out, freaking out. And let's continue on in part 3.
How high, y'all? Y'all want more? Do y'all want more? Do y'all think y'all can handle this? Ray Della said this is drink worthy. This means you need to pop a bottle. Part 3. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. Oops. I wasn't on the screen. Y'all ready for some more? Now, we ain't going to be able to do the 4 hours. I ain't sitting out here for 4 hours. But let's go to part 3. Y'all ain't heard nothing. Now, if you don't have TikTok, right? If you don't have TikTok and you need it, I was going to say we can go to the membership and watch it for hours. I'm willing to do that. Okay. So hold on. Let me bring up part 3. Y'all ready? Here we go.
3. Okay, so I'm walking out of baggage claim. I have my bags. And at this point, worst case scenarios are playing in my head. I'm like, what if this whole thing is just going to be so awkward and we're not going to have that connection like I think we have? But I also told myself, you're going to have to figure it out. And let's just do this. So I walk out of baggage claim and I'm scanning the scene and I see him. And everything in me feels peace and joy. And I just make a beeline to him. Like, it's one of those, like, I'm walking, but like low key I'm running. And I finally get to him. He hugs me, but like he picks me off the ground and he's hugging me and I'm hugging him back. And then he puts me down. He looks at me. He goes, "Hi, Bambi." And that was a nickname he used to call me. And I was like, "Hi." And we just proceed to make out in the Nice airport for 2 straight minutes. And I am not the type of person to ever do that, but I just felt so much attraction towards him.
Didn't she do that on The Bachelor? Didn't she try to do that on Love in Paradise? Okay.
And I just did not care. And I remember that we were in the taxi going to the hotel and we had to put ourselves at like an arm's length because we were just like going at it, like kissing. And I was like, this taxi driver is going to start feeling super uncomfortable. So we're like, we need to stop. And so we get to the hotel, we check in, we get to the hotel room. And let's just say we had a wonderful time multiple times. Mom and Dad, I am so sorry for that part. We ended up going to dinner afterwards. And I just remember sitting here and I was like, I feel like this is my dream come true being here with you. And he said, I feel like this is my dream come true. Like, I'm so grateful to be here. Like, you're like my dream girl. And you were even better than I remembered if that was even possible. And it just felt like everything was aligning perfectly. And so the next day we had a car rental. So we went to Monaco and that's where his work event was. And I remember he told me, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring you to all of the events. And I told him, you know what? I'm going to be in Monaco. So if you can't take me to things, that's fine. I'll just go explore the city. And I remember we get there and he had like a kickoff event, like first things first when we arrived. And so I wasn't invited. I also didn't really want to go. So he went to that and I was just like exploring Monaco. And he sends me a message. He said, "Hey, you're going to be able to come to the event tonight. Do you have something to wear?" And I remember being like, I didn't bring anything like for like a professional cocktail party. He was like, "Oh, well, we're in Monaco. So you wear whatever." And I said, "Okay." So I remember I put on this green romper and we went to this hotel. And I remember being super nervous because I'm used to like networking, but not with like Norwegians and like a bunch of people that aren't like fluent in English, which actually people in Norway, they all are fluent in English. I was very impressed. But I just started talking to different agents because these were all real estate agents. And I'm a realtor. So I felt like I could connect with them so well. And I remember I was talking to this man, me and my ex were talking to this man, and he was like so interested by me. And he said, "Are you coming to the boat party tomorrow?" And I knew there was a boat party coming up the next day, but I also just like assumed I wouldn't be able to go. And I said, well, I looked at my ex, I go, I don't know, like, am I? And my ex looks at me, he goes, "Well, you're talking to the CEO, so I think that's fine." I said, "Oh." The CEO was like, "Yeah, I'd love for you to come." And he was just so nice. And I met so many great people, and also just watching him in his element working. And he's just so charming and charismatic. And everyone, when people talk to him, they're just so fascinated by him, like I was. And so we had a
opportunist. In my humble opinion, she's an opportunist. She thought she was going to get over. She got connections. He connecting her to people. In my opinion, she's an opportunist. But let's keep on.
Great night. And then the next day was a boat party. And I remember I was just hanging out on the boat, again, just watching him go talk to all these big customers. And I didn't understand a word he was saying, but I just felt like he just looked like he was super smart. And later on that night, I remember they had another event and I wasn't invited to that event, which is fine, but I came and met up with him afterwards.
Okay, this is getting dry. Hold on.
I would not want you to tell me right now. And honestly, never in a million years did I think that I would say I love you first to him, but he pulled it out of me and I felt it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to say it. And I did. And it felt so good. And I remember we went back to the hotel that night, got some sleep. And the next morning we went to Bagatelle and we had just like a beach day. And I used to tell everyone that this was the best day of my life because we spent the whole day just swimming and laughing and eating and having such a great time. And I just thought to myself, like, I could do this forever. And like, I also
opportunist
thought to myself, like, I don't care if we're on a couch in
my opinion,
Dallas, Texas. Like, I just want to be around him all the time. And so,
but if he didn't have these things, would she want to be around him?
that night we go to dinner, and I remember just asking him, what are the things that you think are important as we like enter into this relationship? And he told me, if you give me respect and loyalty, I will give you the world. And I told him I can do that. And then I told him, there's a few things you should know. Number one, your money is great, but it's the cherry on top of a great sundae. You
He heard everything she said.
could lose it all tomorrow and I would not go anywhere. Like, the money is just like this little added benefit. But
And she's telling the truth, because in this 30-part series, he loses everything. He loses everything. And she never left him. $130,000 she lost. Not only her, but her friends, as a result of this relationship, even down to one of her nieces who said that he got money out of her. He had to leave her. She did not leave him. The money that he was spending on her probably was money from another woman. In some of these comments somewhere, they say who he is. They give his name, and I will look him up. So let me get y'all stable, and then I will look him up. They are alleging that he is now in Tulum, Mexico, scamming another woman as we speak, allegedly.
I love you for you. I'm here for who you are as a person, not the money. Also, cheating is 100% a deal breaker for me. I just feel like I always need to like put that out there. I don't care if we've been married for 15 years with 4 kids. I will leave. I will not put up with cheating. And also, my family is my world. I'm a warrior for my family and friends. And please don't ever put me in a position where I have to choose, because like I love my family so much, and that would be a situation that would cause me so much pain, and I just would never want to be in that position. He said, I understand completely, and I love that about you. So we set those ground rules, and the next day we go to Cannes. And I remember that first day in Cannes, we're having a great time. We went to the beach for a little bit, and then we decided we're gonna go shopping. And he tells me, you can pick out whatever you want to buy, you can get it. So we're going to like Cartier, we're going to Chanel, we go to Dior. I see this yellow bag I fall in love with, but I felt so uncomfortable because I don't want this man to think that I'm with him for his money. And I didn't want him to feel like I was using him. So I remember just being like, oh,
But that's what it sounds like, doesn't it, y'all? Let me pause real quick for the cause and show y'all who this man is, because we're not going to be out here long. We're going to move on, okay? I don't plan on being out here 3 to 4 hours unless this is something you all want me to do in the membership. We will sit and discuss it there, okay? So let me bring up the name of the gentleman who is alleged to be the husband. Again, this is alleged. Martin Hold on. Here we go with the music on TikTok. Let me show you him with her. I've turned off the sound because TikTok loves a good sound bite. Okay, here's another picture. What do y'all think? And we are only on video 4. I tell you what we can do. Tomorrow I got things to do, but we will discuss video 4 through, I guess, maybe 10 over coffee. Either meet me here or beat me here. If you have TikTok and have not already watched it, please watch it. And I'm going to ask you, do not put spoilers in the video comment section. There's some people who have not had an opportunity to look at it yet. Please go to TikTok. I will make sure I put a link to her TikTok channel down in the bottom. Be ready to talk about it over coffee. I can promise you all that I will do that. Until then, thank you so much for everybody who's been here. Go over, review it, because we're coming back tomorrow so we can watch it as a family. Get your Starbucks, get your Paneras, go to Mikey's coffee shop, get whatever you need. I'll put the video time in here, a tag to the video, and then we're going to talk about it tomorrow. I love y'all, and until we meet again, y'all be safe out there in the streets and in the water. And make sure that when I load the other video that you copy the link and share it on your social media platforms so you, your friends, or whoever else can join us tomorrow for this discussion. Love y'all. Bye.